Okay, so my friends, this is the Graduate Show. We do this every Wednesday and Thursday. Some days it's a little different than other days, but this is what we are doing. And so, let's get into it. We'll talk more about the training program as we get in. Marble says, how do I actually apply the chess knowledge that I have during a game? I can't stop blundering. Well, this is a good thing actually to start our show off with, because there's all kinds of knowledge you can get in chess. It's a very deep game. But if you blunder, it really ruins everything. So, especially this under 1,000 crowd, what we're going to see is they are blundering. That is the main thing that is happening, the main thing that's keeping them from progressing. It's not their openings, it's nothing fancy. It's people blundering. It's important to see that you will always be blundering, even if you pass 1,000. I'll blunder some stuff for sure. And the main thing there is to develop a grip on the board. And we have a lot of things, almost all the requirements in the under 1,000 cohort have to do with developing that kind of grip. Some people call it board vision. There's other names for it. Right? But that is what it is fundamentally about. For example, when you do the mate in twos, yes, it's about mating patterns. But really, you're trying to get a grip on the squares. What controls what? When you do the elementary tactics, yes, there might be some fancy stuff called pin and skewer and all that other business. Fine. But what you're also seeing is just what attacks what. And that's kind of like one of the first things that has to happen before anything else. Falgra, good to see you. Let's go on to Rimatroni. Boom. Rimatroni joined. And, a lot of times people join and then they haven't done anything. Except graduated. So I think that's going on here. Do we got any games? We got a game, though. We got a game played fairly recently. Congratulations on the graduation. But I'm not going to review this game because there's 0 annotations. So, Rimatroni, great that you joined. Obviously, to make to the next cohort, be a touch harder, but you can make it. And you want to be playing the recommended time controls. The minimum is 30 minutes. You want to annotate those games. And of course, you want to get a lot of your requirements done. Okay, good though. Next up, we have Option Trader. I'm fascinated by option trading. I would never do it. I would never do it, but let's give him a follow. Okay, so Option Trader's done a lot of tactics. But beyond that, not so much. His tactics look pretty good, though. And he also just started. Do we got clubs, Option Trader? 50 plus. There we go. Now, if you're 50 plus, boss, you don't want to be doing no options trading. Come on now. You're going to get a heart attack. Come on, Options Trader. Keep it real, bro. Keep it real. Options trading... Why does it fascinate me? It feels to me like, well, let's talk chess. The people who do options trading are usually the ones who like the weird, murky positions, who prefer that kind of stuff. Who like the complexity, not necessarily attacking or defending, just the complex positions. That's my experience. A lot of chess players do some kind of investing, right? It's just part of the chess player profile. And I'm just like, who are these people? Who are these people that do this kind of options trading? Mumuxia says, is it possible not to graduate? Just an example, I joined with my ChessCom ranking on a dip, and I feel I can reach the graduation level soon, but I don't feel like I graduated. P.S. No idea how graduation works. Well, first of all, you're in the right show, because we're going to be looking at a lot of graduations. So what we always say is that if you actually hit your intended rating and feel kind of stable at it, then you should graduate. And the point is, a lot of people are like, oh, I have to do all the tasks. I have to do all the tasks. Let's say you graduated from like options trader, let's say went 4 to 500, then to 5 to 600. Might say to himself, oh, I need to do all the tasks below me. But really, we want you've graduated. We want slightly harder tasks for you now. And when you do sparring, we don't want you beating up like little bunny foo-foo on 400 to 500 cohort people. We don't want that, right? We want you at the new next level. Okay, so let's see if options traders got some games. No, kind of typical for someone who's just joined. So we hope he does more. Right now, he's just been killing with the tactics. All right, very good. Next up, we have Warren. And Warren wrote me a little novel. I like the novels. All right, let's read Warren. I have to tip my hat to the principals. Excellent job they have done here. Thank you very much. When I initially joined, I thought there was no way I could put that much time into it, but somehow the site draws the time out of me. I am a user of this site too, and it is, as we've made it cooler through the years, stuff like the heat map, like you're saying, definitely is keeping me more on task. I like being able to create custom tasks and see the cumulative time, pages, etc. built up on that task. The only tweak I would make is to add a separate category color for pure calculation training. To me, that belongs to tactics, but okay. Otherwise, again, outstanding job. As it is, I'm sure I'm not even close to fully leveraging what the dojo has to offer, as have only tiptoed into Discord. Also, I must thank Dave for his opening principles video. After watching that, I don't know this video at all. I abandoned trying to memorize openings, which involve the London and Carl Kahn. I totally agree with that. First, I struggled to remember the moves in actual games anyways, and it turns out when I switched to winging it, playing e4, my win rate improved dramatically. My rating started going up, and I was having more fun. So overall, the dojo is inducing me to put in consistent effort, which has resulted in a guy in his mid-50s, me too, managing to claw and scrape his way into the 73rd percentile on Chess.com Rapid. We'll see what I can do from here. That was great. Great, Worm. Fantastic. So as you can see, Warren is crushing it over here. Loads of tactics. And he's doing AMA, against medical advice tactics here. So I don't know, maybe we'll look at what he's doing. He's doing some lifting, jumping rope, rollerblading. You know he's from the 90s if he's rollerblading, you know. Okay, so he's got a tactics. He's doing fine with the tactics. Clubs, nothing. We want to go activity. I want to see the non-dojo tactics he's doing. He's doing calculation training. I think he mentioned that was something he felt should be a different color. Yeah. Okay. Now we have 5 buckets, and I like them. And there are subsets of things in all of these. So middle games and strategy has a lot about chess history. End games are both positional and technical. Opening is sparring. It's memorizing, all this stuff. Games and analysis, reviewing your game with a higher rated player, reviewing somebody else's game, obviously annotating and playing. And tactics, definitely calculation is part of that. Okay, let's see if we got some games, Warren. Warren, that's the most important thing, boss. We're going to need a game in there, bud. Come on now. Come on now. All right, so here we go. Boom. Next up, we have Quiet Night. I remember Quiet Night. Been a little over a year since I graduated. Have found that I had to take the chess app off my phone and limit playing to weekends. Picked up How to Analyze Your Games and have been enjoying it. That was the book that it was a labor of love. Also, like all the updates to the dojo, thank you for the review and have a great day. Great. Yeah, go check out that book. Go check out that book. Loads of great annotations by people in the dojo. This is kind of fun. You can see he is doing weekend work. Very, very deliberate weekend work, and quite a bit of it, right? So he can set his own weekly goal. I believe it's looking like 2 hours is his goal. Great. One cool thing I just noticed, this is new, is this Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday thing is just showing us, because before it was a little, obviously you'd figure it out, but now it's a little bit clearer what we're talking about when we see these rows going down. Now, what you can see from Quiet Night is he's playing quite a bit. He's playing quite a bit. All right, so ChessCom Rapid 509, but now check this out, Quiet Night. I don't think you're there, buddy. See, this is 509, and this is, you got yourself to 600, 700. Yeah. Okay, so arguably you fell this, you were at 837. All right, we'll go take a look. But in general, I feel like you're probably, at the moment anyway, you're on the wrong cohort. Clubs. Adult Improver. Look at all those people in there. Games. And loads in here. Let's go take a look at this bad boy here. Boom. First annotated game I have done in about a year. Okay, good. Clock time, as you can see. We do want to suggest to you, Quiet Night, that here, let me show the heat map. Not the heat map, the time graph here. When we look at your time graph, it looks like, we'll see how true this is when we look at the game, but it looks like you kind of lost your thinking gas. You ran out, your engine, your thinking engine ran out of gas here, and then you were making much quicker moves beginning over here. All right, game review. Good notes. You're doing fine. Notice, H6 not developing. You're going to get a lot of it at this level. H3, what are you doing? Push him. Let's go. Okay, I like E4 better. Fine. Unnecessary. Remember, we say at every graduation show, at this level, there are 3 things that you want to do. Most important, not hang stuff. We talked about the grip on the board a little earlier. Number 2, is take your time. We saw the time graph in there, right? Taking the time will help you not hang stuff. And number 3, develop your coconuts. Of those 3 things, developing the coconuts is the easiest thing to do. Unless something really dramatic is going on, just don't make moves like H3 and A3. Just don't do it. Your opponent's also not making developing moves. Not a developing move. Not a developing move. Good. Not a developing move. Okay. Not a developing move, but I know what little trick you're doing. Oh, I thought for sure you were going to play Queen D3 to threaten mate. Let's do it. Good move. Okay. And now Rook Fe1 threatening E4. Maybe you're threatening E4. Now, here I would say this is where chess often gets very interesting because, you've got a great position. Why? Because your opponent's incredibly down in time. He lost all his, any chance of developing is gone. This guy's terrible, right? So, Rook Fe1, I don't know if you're really threatening to play E4. My general sense of it is you might want to play G4, King H2, Rook G1. That's a little fancy. I get it. But you have the initiative and you should try to kill him. Okay, give this a try. Okay. Now, what I don't like about this is when he recaptures, he's going to be blunting this bishop. You're still better, though. That's a terror. Okay, and then here, I missed that the dark square bishop is hanging. He missed it too. Now, this is really where I want to stress something. We're going to go back to so you missed it, he missed it. I want to go back. As you can see, we're now at move 19, and here you played this next move, move 20, in 12 seconds. Okay? So we need you need to slow down. And you can see on this graph, you kind of lost the thinking juice here. See? Could have thought more here. All right. So, like I said, this thing about thinking is very important. By the way, we have a new thing coming into the dojo. Pretty proud of it. We're still working on it. We are going to give people, because this is so important, we are going to give you a rating for your time usage. Sounds amazing, right? So if somebody's not thinking, they're going to get a very low rating. If someone is thinking, they're going to get a high rating. It's that simple. And at higher levels, if you think too much, you'll also get punished for that. At the lower levels, we sometimes see it, but we rarely see it, because thinking is a muscle. It takes a little while to develop before you can really dig into the position. Good move. Okay. I think, by the way, you should play back one of these squares, and then you can get ready for your queen d3 thing again, now that the f-pawn is out of the way. Here you played that 9 seconds. Again, you probably would have found bishop c2 if you hadn't played so fast. I don't really get it. I don't know if I get it. You should play g6. An aggressive move. Okay, queen f3. Snip, snop. King g2, good move. f4, good move. Bishop d4, I like it. a5, good move. Okay. AB is a good example of a mistake, and you can think of it as a developing question, because you're not really in a position to do anything yet. And so him taking is going to just open up your rook that had no scope before. Snip, snop, he helps you over there. Rook on the 7th, very nice. And then king f1, played pretty quickly. Not a great move. I think king f3 would be better. I agree. This is a very nice position for you, though, pretty much no matter what. I like bishop g6, honestly. All right, boom, boom. And now rook c7 looks strong. Good move. Good move. That isn't it. Bishop c3, nah, well, okay. You're probably going to have to give that to him. Snip, very nice. And now f5 looks good. Let's see. You got a lot of good moves. Okay. Good move. That's it. All right. So well done. And let's just say, this pertains to everybody doing this show today. That kind of miss where you miss bishop f6 being taken has everything to do with what the improvement will be, because for both sides, that's the end of the game. That's the end of the game when someone blows it like that, right? And learning to take your time, realizing, first of all, taking your time and realizing when you take your time, you're going to see that kind of stuff more often. Go Pink Flamingo. Thank you for being here. All right. This little scene grab isn't as cool as I want. Well, so I have a problem that when I show, it's too abstruse to talk about. It's too abstruse to talk about. It has to do with different... what's going on here? I don't know. With... What does it have to do with, buddy? Can you be clear? It has to do with different grabs on the dojo, whether it's a game that someone else has played or when I analyze a game through a different window. I know, it's a little hectic. Don't need to explain. All right, but I do need to fix it when I do the grad show. Okay, you know what I need to do? I need to remember to mark these bad boys as reviewed. How do I do it, Kraai? Mark reviewed, there it is. Okay, great. I forgot to do it in the other games. Let's go on to Spunkity. And we're going to hit grad show. Spunkity, we're going to give a follow. They also joined fairly recently. They're at 690. I think they definitely graduated and fell down. Not the worst. Not the worst. Don't feel bad about it. Of course, we want you to get back up there. I'm sure you will. Here you actually have an amazing normalized rating with Lichess. Lichess is a weird thing, though, especially at the lower cohorts. Clubs. All right, we're in Italy. Yep. So, great. I want to get that number up from Italy. All right. By the way, Kostya is going to go play a tournament in Italy pretty soon, and we'll be covering that. I don't know all the details, but that's going to be a big old event. So here we got Spunkity playing. Boom. And we'll start with the time graph over here. Boom. And you can see, this is very typical, that when you're playing somebody, maybe it's a random player online, they very often don't use their time, right? So it's a 30-minute game, but this person playing black isn't really thinking at all. Very common. One of the things you should expect and psychologically brace yourself for. Because when they're playing so fast, it can be unnerving. It'd be like, this guy's a genius. He sees everything. No, he's just a chump moving too fast. That's all that's going on. Okay. So let's get into it. Good move so far. C4. Okay. Personally, I like developing moves, so I like that move. But all right. Okay. Okay. Good moves. Okay. Good moves. Now, one of the things I want to say is your development is fantastic. It's really good. A6. Now, one thing I really encourage you to do is to not import usually this sounds to me like a Lichess thing. And what do I mean? When you Lichess is really obnoxious. I like Lichess, but where it is obnoxious is after you play the game, it's really hard to set it so that you don't see the computer analysis. And right away, like, I'm pretty sure Spunkity didn't write this inaccuracy C4 was best. I know it's in fact Lichess. That's its diction. That's the way it talks to people. And yeah. Okay. So A6, by the way, I wouldn't call a mistake. So this is an example of, how the computer is a little different than a human understanding. If black came to the conclusion that taking here was your best move, well, then A6 is always useful in an isolated queen pawn structure. That's a little advanced for what we're doing today, but that's just what I'm saying. I don't think black knew that, though. I don't think black knew that when they played it. Queen b3, yeah. The computer wants dc5, but only because they're terrified of this, which honestly is not clear to me that it should be such a thing. My default move would just be bishop e2, castles, put your people out. Knight b6, and it wanted b5, right? Okay, now we can probably play dc5. And yeah, dc5. Now look, see this stuff that with the engine? I don't want you to become confused by that, right? You are actually playing fine moves, all right? You're doing fine. Okay, now b5 might come. Let's castle, very nice. See, this is what I'm talking about. All that fancy political, I was going to say political, all that fancy positional mumbo jumbo don't mean nothing because, bam, you're taking their pawn, baby. Yeah. And this one, too, your computer telling you that that EF4 was best. No, I mean, maybe it is, but your move, that's what I would do, Bows. Come on now. That's the move. That's the move. Don't get all freaked out about it. All right. B5, and now you played your next move fairly quickly, and I can imagine making this mistake myself. So the problem is now you allow this bishop to develop with tempo, and he's going to win the exchange. Bummer, right? Bummer. So you're up a pawn, you're doing great, right? And honestly, any move besides that is better. You got a variety of things to do. B3, well-intentioned though. And this is the one where, let's say you did a human analysis of the game. This is the one where you should give yourself a question mark, right? Everything else was on target. And this, I would say, is a question mark, like in the 1300 level range. You know, your opponent takes advantage of you here, but I don't think you should also feel terrible about this mistake. It's just that when you do the annotation without the computer first, again, you can use the computer later, but just first look at it with your own eyes. This would be a mistake. All right, now you have to give up the exchange. You decide to do it this way. Good. Good. Now, do you have full compensation? Absolutely. Now we need a plan. What did you do? Rook C1. Okay. Good move. Queen G5. Notice, a lot of times at this level, these people, they don't know what to do. So what they start doing is moves that randomly seem to attack stuff. Is he really attacking something? No, not doing anything at all. And now you play G3 in 39 seconds. And here you write that Rook C7 was better. And I'm hoping that that's the kind of move you can find without the computer. Notice that what the move G3 is what we call a reactionary move. And what we mean by that is you're reacting to Queen G5. Queen G5 doesn't actually do anything, but you feel like it's doing something without looking. So it's kind of a trusting your opponent. He didn't there, I'm going to go here. You look at me funny, I'm going to look funny back at you. That's not what chess is, right? So G3, he blunders this. Why? Think about it from a psychological point of view. These people, they just make random threats. That's all they can do. Rook C7. Oh, okay. Again, this computer thing isn't helping you. Queen F5. Rook C5. That might be tricky. He needs maybe Rook C8 now. Okay, Bishop B7. Why? Because he's trying to trick you. That's all he's up to here. And now you talk about Knight F7. Good. You played Knight EG6. Now, what I think is important to say is that you missed Queen E4, or I'm assuming you missed Queen E4. And far more important than all this computer jimbo-jambo that's in here, you need to be just saying that to yourself. Oh, I missed this move when I played Knight EG6. That doesn't make any sense. And Rook takes H5, very nice. You played the natural Rook C7, which looks very strong. King H7, and you said, thank you. Is that a thank you? Wait a second. Why did you take on B7, though? I would have figured you'd come back to E5 or something. Or Rook takes F7. What are we doing? Why did you take on F7? So that's another clear mistake. That wasn't it, G6. Now we go back. Now you got a nice attack. Good move. Okay. Kind of weird. The idea here was to reactivate the queen. Now, I think what you should really be dreaming about is some kind of D5. Now, I like what you did. Want to stress that. But also here, I want you to see that Bishop F7 is kind of the move we really want. And the key, because we're going to collapse this square, and the key thing to see is that if here, then we give this intermezzo, right? And then we'll take this bad boy next. Notice it does this little thing here. I can right-click it to save it as a comment, but that just means that those are my annotations there. Don Mahogi, thank you very much. So, all right, let's go back. Knight F7, all this business happened. You're doing okay. Okay. Knight F7 check. Oh, again, the computer is killing you because you need to see this on your own. And look, King H3. Why aren't you playing King G2? You're hanging a coconut here. This is what we're talking about, where things are decided. And he hangs all his coconuts. And black shouldn't have resigned here. Given the way this thing is gone, there's all kinds of room for mistakes here. Okay, but well done. And that was Spunkety. All right, next up we have Jose Mota. Now, you know, Jose, where I'm from, Mota means weed. That's what Mota means. Now, maybe in Spain, it means something different. We'll drill into that maybe. I started playing with the free tier to experiment what the program could offer. I didn't have enough time to focus on learning chess with this level of structure, but I kept playing. I managed to grow some rating, and I believe I can go further. All right, let's check out Jose over here. From Portugal. Okay, let's give Portugal a follow. So, one thing, here's a question I have for chat. We have loads of projects going on at the dojo. Jose doesn't have any games yet, but I think he's just coming in. We have loads of projects. Congratulations, Jose. We want you to obviously do some games and put them up here. We have loads of projects, and so it's kind of like, you know, people and loads of people write in are like, dude, you need to do this, that, and we just have a long list of stuff. And part of the problem too is we have so many things. Maybe we kind of just do not the best job on one thing because we're already got our eye on the other thing. Anyways, this is my question. Would it be worthwhile to have AI create a Spanish language version of the site? Now, I get it. Jose's not Spanish. He probably hates those people. But would it be worthwhile? I don't think it would be too hard. And then maybe we could do some Spanish videos and stuff just to get more of a Spanish crowd going. That could then be our test case for other languages as well, right? And then we could add the other languages after if we got kind of dialed that in, how that works as a site. Anyways, that's a little project we're dreaming of. Next up, we have Dab327. Dab says, it would be a good thing to have an easier way to get sparring partners. Could we set up lengthy arena tournaments for positions and play unrated? I would include the My LCO bots so you would always have something to play against. Are the My bots a Lee Chess thing? I guess that's my first question. And second of all, I do think it's easier to getting sparring partners. And I think a key thing that we're going to advance, I'm pushing for it anyway, in Dojo 4.0 is to actually encourage people to play against some bots. The point is not so much that, yes, of course, it would be easier to play against, it would be better to play against a person, but it's not easier because you got to set it up. And furthermore, when we started the program, the bots weren't as good as they are now. So especially like imagine all these endgame algorithms and stuff. If you go against a 1500 in those algorithms, right, as a bot, that's going to be what you need, right? Whether it's a technical position or not. And so they're pretty good. They're pretty good at developing a sense of what's going on for all of the algorithms and sparring positions we have. Okay, here we go, Dab. And one cool thing that just crossed my mind, let's give Dab a follow, is that I'm a little familiar with the ChessCom bots. And what we would tell people is in the sparring, we would just say, all right, if you're 1600, these are the bots that you can play against. This is the range. And then if you're on Lee Chess, this is the range that you can play against such and such bots. All right. Don Hoagie kind of agrees with me there. And here we go, 766. Just kind of joined fairly recently. Let's see what's going on. We got some clubs. Oh, we got an ancient dude from the Bay Area, home of the dojo. All right, good. Games. And this is going to be AK. This might be an IRL game we got going on here. So, you're right. So, TNM is the Mechanics Chess Club Tournament. Very good place. Mechanics Institute Library down here. Very good place to do some IRL games. So I talk a lot about how the Europeans have the advantage of league games. And for the most part, we don't have that here in America. But there are several clubs like the Mechanics where you can go get a weekly game. And, you know, if you get a longer game, analyze that game, put it on here. Fantastic, just as what happened here. Now, did Doug take the times? Didn't do the times. And what I want to stress is you can write down the times, and it will be helpful for you to write down the times. All right, game review. Let's get into it. Fine. 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 C takes. Fell out of my repertoire. Should have played knight h4. No, I wouldn't worry about your repertoire. Knight h4 is fine. You could also play queen b3. What you did is also not a crime. Castles. c6, and you say he has equality. I agree. It's about an equal game. Bishop f4. I really like your systematic development, and I would say that's the first move that I'm not thrilled about with e3. Because it's not a developing move. Again, one of the things to say is that development, one of the key things you have to learn to get out of 1000, that development is the easiest of the three things to do. It will actually decide less games, but is the easiest. So if you were going to make a default developing move, it would be, I guess, one of these bad boys, something like that. Problem of e3 too is now your bishop's a little trappy. You know, like h6 might be a hassle. h6 is a good move for black to make anyway, threatening g5. Bishop b6, no one understands. That's not a developing move. Okay. You talk about knight g5. I don't know. Notice not developing. Okay, you're doing fine. Notice what happened though. We just hung our coconut here. This is a result of E3, the E3 move. So knight e4 is threatening to mess with us with g5. So this looks like, therefore, a big mistake. g5, uh-oh. Uh-oh. And you talk about d5. d5 is a good move, but you will be losing a coconut, right? At least we're trying. I think we're toast. Bishop b1 doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. And then we're hanging queen takes f2. Okay, so let's say that e3 was both a strategic and tactical mistake. I correctly intuited that maybe g5 would be a grief for you later on. And development is always best. Not hanging f2 would have helped too. So g5 is a little, now you might not fall for it, right? Something to keep your eye on, for the future. And then hanging f2 is actually the bigger deal because that's something that really should not have happened. Okay, good, well done. Let's keep going. Next up, we have Stinky Little Ghost. Stinky Ghost. Stinky says, getting to 1050 seemed to go a lot faster than getting to 950. I notice a lot more holes in my games and decisions than before, which I suppose is good, although humbling. I've started to play more 30-0 games, mostly because I've had a bit more time to play chess over the last few weeks. I'm starting to get more endgames, which has made me notice how poor my endgame skills are. Can't wait until I can pick up the Silman endgame book. couple things there. Me and Kostya were just talking about the end games. And so there's no end game books until you're after 1,000. We felt like you first have to not hang pieces before you start talking end games. But we do have the end game algorithms. Also interesting in here, for other reasons I was looking at this today, is this will be Stinky's last cohort with 30 O games. And so after he gets past 800, we then say slowest time control is 30-30, right? But 30-0 right now for this cohort is fine. Now let's get into it. Boom. Here's Stinky Little Ghost, Danish adult improver, doing a lot of non-dojo tactics. All right, brilliant. Do we have a Danish chess club? Yeah, buddy, the Danish Dojo. Nice. I played a tournament in Denmark ages ago, would love to go back. Okay, so let's go look at games. And this is Stinky Little Ghost, true to his name. Boom. And let's look at the time graph. Boom. And as you can see, Stinky is playing a random person on the internet, and they're not thinking at all. They're not thinking at all. Stinky is pretty good with his time. You know, he really thinks here. And then this game in particular has a 20-second increment. So he's able to kind of live off that increment for the rest of the game. All right, so game review. Stinky plays the Caro. Weird. Poor. Okay, now, this is one of the reasons we don't want to study openings all that much, because your opponents are going to play poor moves. Now, you played Knight f6. I think it's fine. I want to stress, though, that d4 is a kind of a nasty move. One of the reasons this should have been played. If d4, knight e4, you're going to pick up a coconut with queen a5. But knight f6 is fine. h3, poor, not developing. Like I said, these people are not going to develop, and they're going to be moving way too fast. Bishop d7, I like d4 again. Okay, now you're taking a little time to take care of this dumb bishop. But okay. Good, I like that you developed. Okay, you're doing great. Great. Okay. Developing. I took a bit of time making this move, trying to decide if I'm okay with the double pawns. Okay, I like what you're doing. Your main thing is you're developing. b3. Okay, now queen a7. I was lukewarm on this move. I despise this move. I despise this move. Stinky. What is it about? I wanted the queen out of the way from knight a4. Okay. Now, to my pedestrian mind, knight d7 is a very simple move to make. The knight can later be useful on e5 or c5, and we don't have to worry about any bishop f6. Now, you could also just castle. And that's kind of the spicy sauce, I think, that you were dreaming of when you allowed him to take on f6. You know, if he takes, you'll hold this square easily because you have a dark square bishop. You can defend. Maybe even go here. Yeah, doing great. Okay, so don't try to avoid making moves that don't develop anything. Weird. Okay. Okay. I like how powerful your bishop is. b1, okay. Oh, now you're getting frisky. So notice what happened, actually, is that you were so terrified of the double pawns that you did this, and now your king is actually a little loose. And f4 would concern me here for black. Knight e2, bishop e5. I don't know why he's not playing f4. Now he plays f4, but now you can take on e5. So now, to me, the point of the f4 move was to get everything open. Now, to tell you the truth, you're still in a bad way with your king. I'm really concerned. Queen c7, now definitely d4 should be played. Good move. That move he missed. That's nothing. Bishop e5. I would want to trade it. So he's talking in his notes about not wanting to take because of the queen trade, but I would want to trade it. Here, however, is an example of a tactic. So it would go check to the miserable king, snippos, snappos, rappos, and we got a nice nasty little fork, right? So your move is, for that reason, better. That wasn't it. Give me that. I don't understand. Remember, my friends, this is where things go wrong. You cannot hang that pawn. Cannot hang that pawn. Oh no, now the game is wide open. I would definitely encourage you to trade this thing off. See, now that's just kind of a scary move to face. Good move. D4 made little sense, and now he's trading queens, and you got to say thank you very much. Of course you should play king takes pawn. So as we see, what the key decisions here from both players are people hanging coconuts. Okay, this is a mistake because you are letting the rook in, and you got in such a nice position, there's no need to let the rook in. Now we have ourselves a technical endgame. Rook e3 should still be better for you. Okay. He's not thinking. This is the moment where black needs to have some real thought about how they're going to defend this position because it's kind of tricky. Instead, he's just going to give you some checks. Okay. I like rook e3 better. I don't like this at all. So definitely a mistake. Okay, so let's talk about it. I would say just, let's call it correct play, or whatever you want to call it is. King f6 is a little scary because now he's controlling his queening square. Rook e4. So for example, h5 is already kind of scary. So these are the kinds of things when you learn endgames, we're talking about endgames a little bit, the kinds of things that you're going to want to be looking at. All right, he doesn't do it to you though. f4, now your g4 pawn's hanging. Yeah. Now he should take it because that's a drawn endgame. That's a big mistake. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now you're winning. Okay. All right. Good. Your opponents will be a little bit better in the next cohort. And you're doing good. You're doing a lot of tactics. We want you to be doing some other stuff too. And welcome to the dojo. You're doing a lot of work, and that's great. Oh, look, he's doing a lot, dude. He's playing a lot, doing 10, really averaging like 12 hours a week. So that is fantastic. All right. Next up, we have Big Eldrazi. Big says, after graduating fast on the first cohort, this one, I had to apply myself for it. Notice Big Eldrazi has graduated numerous times here. I couldn't dedicate as much time to chess as 2 weeks ago. However, only playing a small number of games has been pretty good. I still struggle with longer games and prefer lower time controls like 15-10. I expect me to take quite some time to graduate for the next one, but we'll see. Also wanted to add that tried other method to improve on chess, and definitely the Dojo program is the one that works better. Of course it is. Scene is messed up. Sorry about that, but boom. Thank you. All right, so here's Big Eldrazi. Look at this dude. He's graduating all over the place. He hit it and then fell down slightly. Got a nice tactics rating. Clubs. Oh, a Spanish dojo. So if you're in the chat and you could tell me if it's at all meaningful that we take the effort to get like a Spanish language version of the site, Bose? Oh, you tell me. You tell me. And we need more people in that Spanish dojo. I want a Madrid dojo. I want a Barcelona dojo. You know, the whole thing. All right, games. We got a couple. Let's get into it. 30-0. Now, actually, I just want to stress, I said this earlier, when you graduate when you graduate into 800, 900, that's when we want you, well, you have to, you must start playing 30 plus 30. Okay, that's part of it. Now, one of the things that I want you to see here, Big, is that a fundamental weakness that we can spot right away is that you're not using your time, right? You're not using your time in this game. All right, so let's go game review. Pop, pop. A little weird. So you develop, good. You develop, good. And you really like this move d5. Well, I don't know. I think anything is fine for you. Knight c3, castles, you're doing great. He plays knight b4, maybe knight b8 is stronger. Good. That's a blunder. Boom and boom. And here, actually, I'm not going to yell at you because of the time, because you just won a piece here. So unless you didn't finish it off here, then I'm not going to say anything. Now, this guy, he let you take all the coconuts. That's weird. Here you play, okay, so yeah, you're totally winning, but of course you should just take the pawn and say thank you very much. Check to the miserable king. Checkmate. Good. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. All right, my friends, we are back here, and bang. Next up is Ed. Ed says, my first graduation. Still finding my way around the dojo and how to make the most of it. Most of all, I appreciate the training plan and the structure in the dojo we trust. I hope it was a bit easier to find others to spar and play with. Above all, I greatly appreciate the dojo talks, streams, videos, and I'm more than happy to be here. Next stop, 1000. Oh, Ed, that's great. Bang. So, let's give Ed, aka Le Duvet, a follow. Now, got a nice tactics rating. Clubs in the French dojo. Now, just for my own edification, we're going to say translate El Duvet. The electric oven? Wait. You said it wrong. Le Duvet. Oh, man. Let's try it. Boom. Oh, now it's translating. Le Douvre translates to the Dover. The city of Dover in England. That's probably not really what it is. It's probably some crude French slang that we shouldn't have brought up in here, you know? Okay. Le Duvet, it doesn't mean anything, he says. Oh, okay. I was like, that's going to mean something really cool. Well, I'm happy to have you here. And games. If you have a choice, if you have a preference, I could look at either one of these. Otherwise, I'm just going to click this bad boy. Bang. Let's see, we got a time graph here. Okay, so Le Duvet has a beautiful time graph. Notice that he's playing a chump that is not thinking, right? Really want to stress here at the dojo, we have these round-robin tournaments, and you'll be playing people in the dojo. They'll analyze the game after with you. They will probably, hopefully, not be moving this fast, far less likely to cheat. And in terms of sparring partners, those are the times you can establish relationships too, because, you know, you go after the game, maybe get a Zoom meeting going or something, and you talk afterwards about what you thought was going on, right? Meet some people. All right, here we go. Bishop f4. Good move. Fine. 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 Little weird, knight c6. But maybe there's some cleverness to it, actually, because he's threatening to play queen e7 and e5. So I have a feeling this is a loss of time. a6 poor. He should play queen e7 now, threatening e5. Knight c6 maybe is an interesting move, honestly. a4 makes no sense. This is an example of you being reactive. You are reacting to a6, which doesn't do anything, and you're like, oh, I'm afraid of b5. It's not doing anything. Castle or knight d2. Poor. Again, not developing. Poor. Your bishop was fine. Knight d2. And now you castle. Takes. I don't know. b4. Don't like it. You're just threatening things. Knight d2. Bishop d7. Knight c4 with a dirty trick. Now, as much as I like the dirty trick, we'll show it here. dc, bishop h7. As much as I like it, it's definitely the case that this coconut is very weak now. Yeah. Can he take it? Queen c3. Well, this did surprise me, and it shouldn't have. I thought that being a pawn down shouldn't really be decisive. Also noting that how many of my pieces were pointing at black's king side. I just want to say those, maybe it's kind of cool, but totally unnecessary because the b4 didn't do anything for you. All right. Knight d7, knight d7, knight g5. White wins on time. Leduve actually, I think, meant for me to go over the next one. Let's give it a quick look here. So this is the second one, and the first thing we're going to look at is if there's a similar time graph. Great. So Leduve is thinking his chump opponents are not. This is how we do it. Good. All right. Boom. Game review. Okay. Good. Good. Doesn't develop. Doesn't develop. Good move. Fine. And I agree with you. Bishop c4, bishop d3 are more apt. Good. I want you to develop. Knight bd2. I want you to develop. Knight bd2. No understanding. What is he doing? They're not developing. Good move. Good move. And now you're going to win a pawn. Free coconut. I think the coconut, though, is already free because I don't see how he defends it here at this point. Good. Okay. Little passive. Now, here he's saying he's going to get into a little time pressure. We go back to this time graph. One of the things, Leduve, is at this point we really want you to be playing 30 plus 30, right? In this new cohort you're in. So it'll be good too because we don't want you to be losing on time. And you're doing great. Your opponents aren't doing great. They're not thinking it all. So anyways, this is a passive move. If we're going to defend this pawn, let's do it like this. That way we can build up on the e file. Good. That's funky. Okay. Good. That can't be it. Queen f6, excellent move. And then I hope you told him, welcome to the dojo. Because Pepin Lebref wasn't thinking. They weren't thinking. That's what they get. Okay, well done. That was Ed, a.k.a. Leduve. And now we got Skier Brian. Skier Brian, dude, he's graduated so many times. Let's read what he says. After crushing a 1400, beating a 1247, and holding my own with a 1700 player in our club, I have gained a reputation for being underrated and have been asked if I sandbag my rating. I smile and say, I am putting in over 6 hours of work with the ChessDojo Training Program. Welcome to the dojo. I also put up posters at the club to share my secret with others. Nice. I would appreciate an update on my question regarding a family rate, as I want to get my youngest kids into the dojo. I would prefer that only a discounted membership, that over a discounted membership for helping the dojo. Long games and analysis are the key. By the way, so we had that. We have a weekly meeting, and that was on our agenda. And I don't know. Remember earlier we have so many projects, but that is one of them, and I just want to make sure it's on our to-do list. So where am I? What's my name? Here we go. No. Links. Boombi. And we want to go family plan. Yeah. So we have it on our to-do list. I don't know why it's so complicated. For example, a lot of the things at the dojo are like, oh yeah, for me, I just give an immediate yes. But then our tech dude, the amazing Jack Stingline, also in the program, he is like, well, Kraai, there's this issue and this issue. I could give a this, but then I would have to give a that. And, obviously what we want is just an automated system for families. So I'm going to just reiterate. And if nothing else, maybe we can get you a special situation, because I totally think that a family rate should happen. For myself, as an example, my kids, dude, oh man, could I get them into the dojo? Probably not, And would they really be into it? No. And I'm sure a lot of families are like that. Like maybe one kid's into it, maybe they're into it only for a month. And what a family rate does then is that it lets everybody be on the score, like a family scoreboard. And then, you're just there, and some kids will do it and some won't. And you don't feel like you're paying a bunch for some chump kid who's not putting in the work because they're interested in maybe something else. But you still want them to be part of your little family team, right? For sure. So what I'm writing down here is family plan. And I'm writing down Skier Brian. So if nothing else, I want to have a special thing for you. All right, back to the front. This is great content. Man makes notes on admin matters. Okay, Skier Brian. Skier Brian is putting in the work, dude. Yeah, and I think he's graduated. Look at all those graduation belts, dude. Look at that action. So there we go. 1042. Doing USCF. Amazing. So 920 at the tactics. I have a feeling that's probably outdated. That's probably outdated. All right. Clubs. 50 plus. All this. Great. Boston. Games. All right. Here we go. We got a game. Look, now I want you to also see, my dear friends, this man is taking it up the next level. You can see that before he was playing a lot of 30-0s, and now he's playing a lot of 90-0s, and these are OTBs. This is how you will make epic improvement. So first, do we have a time graph? We do. Amazing. Let's take a look. Brian Smith, Skier Brian, was thinking a little bit. We could actually wish for Skier Brian to be thinking a little more. It looks like it goes all the way down, but it's in fact, at the end of the game, he had only used 28 minutes. His opponent, though, wasn't thinking at all. Now, one of the things about this just want to say is interesting, is my first intuition was that it was online games where people were especially playing super fast. And it's true that online games are faster in general than OTB because people are distracted. But what we also discovered when we drilled into it was that the lower the rating, the less time spent even in longer games. So one of the great things Brian's mentioned, being at the club, playing these people at the club, they're going to be moving super fast, and so this is one of the reasons he's able to do so well. He needs to slow it down here himself, though. All right, let's go over here. Let's go over here. Let's go over here. Boom. Poor move. You're going to get a lot of this, though. Bishop c4 has to be a good move. But why don't we just take the pawn? Thank you very much. What are we doing? And he says bishop b5 is just a bizarre move in the master's database. And so why does that happen? Because you've got people who are playing bullet chess, masters who are playing bullet chess for fun, and they pre-move bishop b5. Come on. So I want you to take the free coconut, though. This is a full free coconut after a6. Good move. Wins the pawn, but hang. No, you're not hanging anything. You're creating a threat. He can't take this thing. So good move. Thank you. Now we'll castle. Queen f3 actually may be fine. I mark this move as dubious because it brings the queen out too early in the game, and that can be problematic. Yes, however, you're making a clear threat, and as long as you castle next move, I can't yell at you. Good move. Good move. Good move. And now bishop d5 wins the game. But notice he's in a real trouble here. Your pressure is amazing. And so why did this happen, by the way? Because of the move a6. And one of the cool things that you can see here is, if I just keep that tempo rolling, I'm going to get winning positions. And this is a winning position. Now, you say this is only clear advantage to white. No, you're completely winning this thing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Queen b7. Fine. I'd prefer you to bring out your coconuts. Okay, but it is a free pawn. Cheap threat over there with queen g4. Good move. Good move. He's just hanging all your people. All his people. Now, let me just say this one makes me a little nervous. That's what makes me a little nervous. What do I want you to do? I want you to bring out your people. You like to take those coconuts. Good. I'm happy you brought it out. Let's find knight e4. Nice. Okay. Nice. Okay. You're doing great, Skier Brian. I think, dude, that you are going to graduate again. I mean, now it's going to get harder. You've really come up the ladder. We're going to get you a family membership for your kids in here. And I think this is great. This is great. And I really want to thank you for doing some IRL advertisement, because at the dojo, I feel like the way that we access people is really through like YouTube videos, and that's great. But it's a certain window kind of person out there. We need access. We're talking about the Spanish. We need access to Spanish in other countries. We need access to like tournaments, and just you going to a tournament, fantastic. Because they see that it's working. You are the best advertisement that we have, Brian. Okay, well done. So, boops, we'll go hit this button, and we have badoom-dum. Badoom-dum-dum. Let's see what's going on with badoom-dum-dum. So, graduated number of times. Not technically graduated, by the way. Maybe he kind of sort of hit it. But anyways, that's what's going on here. Joined way long ago. And, right, good. Graduated several times. Maybe it wasn't quite time. It might not have been quite time. All right, clubs. Down under, great. My plea down there is to get a more specific one. Maybe a Sydney dojo, something like that, or a New Zealand dojo. All right, boom, activity. Great. Games, looking great. So 60-0, notice as we go up, it quite correctly becomes a situation where people use more of their time. At this one, for example, the lowest time control is now that we want people to use for the 8 to 1200 is 30 plus 30. All right, boom. That's right, Donna, that's right. Well, Billionaire of Time, Kostya is kind of doing that. He's out there in Europe playing a bunch of these tournaments. A referral system is definitely worth prioritizing, Jake says. I totally agree. Maybe I'll put that on the many things that we can do. Thank you, Faugra. Don't know a city in New Zealand? Isn't there one called, I think there's one called Christchurch. Am I right? Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. Christchurch, city in South Island, New Zealand. Take that, Holmes. Take that. Woo, got him. Got him. All right, so here we go. I would love to go to New Zealand someday. I don't know if that's that's in my playing deck though, Here we go. Wait, we want to check the time first. Let's just take a quick look. And this is a game 60. And what we are going to say is that Badum, we'll take a look at how it is, but it looks like Badum needs to take a little bit longer here. Okay. All right, game review. E5. So far, so good. A little frisky. D6. Fe5. And you write, this move is inaccurate. Correct move is knight f3. Okay. Very important to try to understand this from a human perspective and then instead of a computer perspective. Because all you're saying with knight f3 is that the computer likes it more. You have to be able to say in words why Fe is actually wrong. And I can tell you, the issue with d6 was that it blocked in this bishop. And one of the key pains in the you-know-what for anything London or Dojo aggressive repertoire is this bishop landing here and messing with us. So d6 gets in the way of that bishop in a very important way. Now, when you take, you get rid of it. Now, why did you take? I'm going to theorize that the tension here was too much for you. You couldn't take it. So you took on e5. Okay? Fe5. Knight f3. Good. Bishop c5. Good move. Knight e5 looks like a blunder. We're about to find out. So, knight e5. Maybe you can play this way. Queen d4. It's getting spicy. Knight d3. Castles. Now, here's an interesting question. Who's better and why here? I don't know. It definitely seems like black should have compensation. Knight c5. Queen c5. And you talk about d4. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's not immediately clear who's better here because even though you have an extra pawn, your king is far from castling. And it's going to be hard to hold that center together before you castle. All right, so here we go. Bishop e2. He stops you from playing d4. Good move. Also developing. d3. Okay. And now knight d4 happens. Maybe. This is where black needs to be creative. I'm not sure knight d4 really does anything. At least I don't know what it does. What should he do? Well, we'll leave that to him. We'll leave that to him. But there's all kinds of ideas here for black. All right, knight d4, bishop f4. Continued development. Good. Knight e2. Mistake. Big mistake. Helping you develop your queen, and now if you need to, you can castle long. Poor move. Now queen f2. Queen e3, fine. Okay. b1. Poor move. I think black thought I would be forced to recapture with the queen and stumble into a tactic. Now, as we've said, this is the kind of thing that decides games, and you said thank you very much. Good. Kind of nice to castle away on move 16, right? Good move. Random check. Good move. That's probably not it. Good move. That's not it. Thank you. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. And he finally resigns. Okay. Well done. Well, my friends, I think we are done with the show. Let's go grad show. And yeah, so tomorrow, the intention is tomorrow we're going to do these bad boys. And I think what we're going to do now is I get to have one blitz game